Hey guys, it's Maymay and welcome to another crafty video.
So today we're going to play with something that I did a long time ago. I'm going to link the video below. Let me show you a sneak peek of what that is, sort of. It's what I call painterly stamping, and it's where you take the back of the stamp, you stamp it in color, and then you flip it over and stamp the dark color on top. And it works with a lot of different stamps as long as they're fairly symmetrical shaped stamps. And I'll explain that in detail in just a minute. But we're going to use a bunch of products, and the reason I don't have the finished project is because I don't know how it's going to turn out. So I thought we'd just go along for the ride together. All right, I have a paper towel here. You can see I've already used it with some squeaky clean because I did practice. So to get started, I'm using the stamp set called Hair Peeking. So that's the one we're using today. This is the little bunny that kind of peeks over the edge of the page. Like you can stamp him down low and he peeks over. Well, we're going to use him to do this technique. And what I'm doing is I'm flipping him over on my block. Now I want to show you. He's not going to stick well. See that? He doesn't stick well at first. But if you'll put him down on the block like this and ink him on the block, he will stick. Now, when you're inking him, what I have discovered is if you'll ink and then twist like this, the fabric of this ink pad kind of fills in the gap when you do it that way, and that works really well. Now, we're just going to take this guy and put him right on the page and just stamp him down. And see how we get that kind of blob there? I'm going to do it again. Notice how he's sticking to the block now? I don't know why that is, but after we do that a couple times, he will stick. And I'm actually giving him 2 coats of the chalk ink. So you see I've got that nice background. All right, now I'm going to clean it. This is paper towels folded up that I have sprayed some squeaky clean on so I can just rub that off. And I'm going to let that sit there and dry for just a second. Now we're going to do some heat embossing. So let me find my little embossing buddy. This is a little powder tool that will keep static and things away so that you don't get embossing powder places you don't want it. You want to let this dry for a minute, and then I'm going to pat this down really well because I want to really coat that little guy so I don't get white embossing powder everywhere. Now I'm bringing you guys in closer so you can see this. I'm going to now flip this little guy over and stick it down. I'm going to take some Versamark ink. We're using all kinds of stuff today. This is an embossing ink. It's a clear ink, so it's just going to leave a clear impression, a nice sticky impression of this bunny. So see how this works really well with the symmetrical stamp? See how he fits in his background really well? That's what I mean. That's why a lot of flowers and things like that work really well for this. Now I'm just going to bring a piece of paper over and I'm going to emboss him. I'm going to use Nouveau Glacier White for this. I thought it was cute. It kind of reminded me of like a chocolate bunny. You know, sometimes little chocolate bunnies will have like white features, like candy features stuck to them. I thought this was cute. Just going to coat him there. That looks good, but I typically do this twice with the white just to try to grab all I can. And then tap off. So there he is, all ready to be heat embossed. So that's before he is. So let's put this back into the container. Now I'm going to use my embossing tool, and I'm going to turn this on and let it heat up before I take it to the page. And I'm doing this upside down because I'm holding it as far away as I can, and now I'm going to take the heat to the bunny and heat up that embossing powder. Now it's all melted, and look how cute. He's a little chocolate bunny. Now I'm going to do a bow tie for him, and I have the little bow right here, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to flip this over, okay? I'm going to use some of this Worn Lipstick Distress Oxide ink. Again, works with other colors. I just love how these oxides look on the page. They're so pretty, and they're so matte finished. They're just gorgeous. And then I'm just going to stamp that down just like that. And see how I get the shape of that bow? That's exactly what I want. Clean the back of this image off. This one struggles with sticking because it's so tiny. Now I've put it on my block correctly. I'm going to tap this with my little powder tool. Ink this dude up, this little bow, and we're going to heat emboss it just the same. And you can totally do those at the same time, but I kind of decided last minute to add the bow. Now, I told you I would show you the differences in how these inks look when you use different inks. These are the same process I just did using the back sides of the flower stamp and then flipping it over and stamping it on top of these with VersaFine. So this one is the Distress Oxide. Isn't that pretty ink? It's nice and rich and thick. This is regular Distress ink in the same color. These are both fossilized amber, which is neat to see too. Look at this. Those are both fossilized amber. So you really aren't adding a duplicate to your collection. You're really getting two different options. And then this one is done with the Memento Dewdrops in Cantaloupe. Isn't that pretty? So it works with all inks. I just wanted to play with oxides today. All right, now the fun part. I'm going to fussy cut these. On the bunny, I'm going to fussy cut it on the outside where the chocolate is, like around the, almost like die cutting it. I'm kind of pretending like that bleed of that stamp is the die cut shape. So I'm just going to follow that and cut him out just like so all the way around. You could totally do this with your ScanNCut. I get asked that a lot. If I were making several of these, I would certainly put them on the ScanNCut because that would be much easier. You know what? I think because the way I'm going to use it, I'm going to leave that little spot right there. Again, I'm just playing, so I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm going to leave this little spot. I think it'll come in handy. And then I'm going to cut the little pink bow out. The pink bow, I'm going to cut right to the emboss line because I don't really need the bleed around it. I'm still playing. I have this idea for that bunny to pick out of this die that I have that is the basket die. You guys have seen me use this a lot lately. And I'm going to make it in white. So A plate, C plate. This is the scrap piece from the piece we just did the bunny and the bow from. I'm going to cut a basket from it also. So see, you can totally use scraps for this and then put our B plate on top of that and run it through our Cuttlebug. Now, before I take this out, I want to show you in the back. I've still got this inside of here. Remember how I told you this is also a stencil? So you can use this as a stencil piece. Now, here's the thing. These pieces here, you don't need to stencil. They pop out, all of these little rectangles here. So I'm just going to pop those out real quick. This is where this is a stencil. Now, this is a die, emboss, and stencil piece. If you run this through your machine with the squishy mat, you can emboss this texture into the shape, but you can also use it as a stencil by inking it. I'm going to take some Spice Marmalade ink and a ink blending tool, and right over the top of that, I'm just going to get in there and ink those little pieces of cutout. This is just going to add a little something extra to the top of the basket, and it's super cool to do it that way. And then you can just take a wet wipe or a paper towel. I'm out of wet wipes, so I'm using paper towels today. Wipe off the ink from your die, and we can remove it. Now, I can tell I didn't get into every little nook and cranny there because that's a tiny space, but I still think it's going to look fine. So I'm going to use my die release tool and get that basket started releasing, and then just lift this out. And look at that cute little basket design we get. Let me bring that up so you can see it. Look at that cute little design we get on there. Isn't that precious? I love it. So now we have a little white basket. And here's my idea. I don't know how that we're going to do this yet, but I think this will be cute for the basket. If I glue this little bunny peeking out of the basket and put the little bow on him and maybe add a carrot or two, I don't know. That's what I was thinking. And he might need some grass behind him. So we're going to play and then put this on a card. So I happen to have a brown Wink of Stella, and this handle is screaming for some color. I'm going to take this brown Wink and color this handle, so not only will it be brown, it'll also be glittered. So dug into my scraps, found some green, and I'm going to glue this basket down to this green and cut that out so that the inside is green inside of our basket weave. I think that'll be cute. Now I'm just going to trim this out. Now I'm also going to use some of this green to become grass behind the bunny when we put that together. I don't know exactly how yet, but I think it'll be cute. Do I keep saying that? I think this will be cute. We'll find out at the end. So I decided to ink the basket as well. So I'm going to take some vintage photo and I'm going to ink this basket just to bring some of the white out, just to kind of knock it back a little bit. It's a little too stark white for me. This is what you do when you play. You'll get started and you're like, I really think this would be cuter if it was a darker color or if it didn't look exactly like I'm doing it. Just play around and see what you get. So we have a saying in the South, and you guys probably thought it, that I should have stopped way while ago on that basket. But I think we're going to get somewhere with it. He's not perfect, but we're getting there. Let's see how it goes. All right, let's bring the bunny over. So I want him to be popping out of the front just like this. I think that is so cute. Look at him sticking up there. And of course, it'll be a girl because I'm going to put a pink bow on her head. And do I want to put carrots coming out? I don't know. Let's go ahead and glue this little guy down. Now let's make some carrots. I'm going to use spice marmalade and peel paint. And let me show you what I'm going to do. I've taken the carrot from our stamp set and I'm put it on the block upside down because I'm going to do the back of it. And what I'm going to do is ink the back portion of the carrot in orange, just like so. And then I'm going to ink the top portion in green. Yes, I'm being adventurous. We're just going to see if it'll work. So I'm just going to ink this section up. And I can see where the ink is going as I'm laying it down. So you probably can't from your view, but I can see that I now have the orange and the green. All right, and now I'm going to put it onto the paper. I'm going to hope this one sticks. I didn't test it before. Yeah, it did. Good job. Okay, ink that little guy. And now see, I can stamp the carrot on top. So now I've just flipped my carrot over on the block. And I'm going to use VersaFine for this. This is Onyx Black. It'll really pop. I think that'll be cute. So I'm just going to go on top of that kind of blobs of color we've made. And there we go. Stamp that dude. Cute, cute. Now I'm going to do the same with the small one. So now you can see I have my two little carrots. And I think I'm going to glue them so that they are glued to the back of the basket, but they stick out just to the side of the basket. Something like that. Something that'll be cute. Let's go with it. Now we're going to try to make grass out of this guy. I'm going to cut it just long enough to go behind them. Well, just slightly over. I have it almost just right. I think I'm going to snip just the edge off so it covers right behind the basket like that. And then I'm going to use my snipping scissors that I've been using like crazy lately. These Easter projects have really called for kind of grass looking. So I'm going to just snip this like this and make our own grass. Now we have some little grass, but I think I'm going to pop it up away, like run some dimensional foam back there. This one didn't cut quite grassy enough. I'm going to go back and doctor that one a little bit. And then I'm going to put this on with some foam to have that lifted off, but we have the grass coming out of the basket. That basket's getting cuter as we go. So I got all my foam squares there. I'm going to take the little grass and just stick that down. And that hides all our workings too, but it really won't matter because this will be glued down to a card. Then I'm going to take the grass, and I want some to kind of poke out the side. So I'm just going to bend some of these pieces that are kind of hidden out to the side. So they'll kind of stick out. I'm going to do that on both sides. You can make this with just scissors and just snipping up some paper. That'd be super easy to do. And let's see what it's looking like. Oh, it's looking cute. Look how cute that basket is looking. I love it. It needs some more things. So I think it needs a bow. And I was going to put a bow at the top, but I don't think that's where it needs it. I think it needs a bow wrapped around here to bring some pink to kind of break up all that green. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start in the back. I'm going to put some sticky tape on the back to hold my baker's twine in place. And I'm just using some pink and white baker's twine from my stash. Go right there with that. Peel that off. If you have trouble keeping baker's twine in place on these kind of projects, just do this. Put some sticky tape. Stick it down, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to leave one side loose, that's this side, and I'm going to wrap this one a couple times. I'm going to tie a bow here in the middle, and I cut way too much off, but that's just my habit. I like to have extra to work with so I don't have a big mess. I think I'll put the bow over to this side. Now that I've got it there, and just to hold it in place, I'm going to come back and put another piece of sticky tape on it, which I can also use when we adhere this down to the card, and that'll hold all that twine in place. So now that twine's not going to go anywhere. Look, I love it. I love it. Okay, let's put this on a card. So here we go. We have our little basket ready, right? And I got to be honest, I almost gave up on this guy because I'm not as in love with him as I wanted to be, but I decided I'm not. I'm going to push through and see what we get. So I went to this little 6x6 paper pad and just kind of looked and see how good he matches the colors that are in this paper pad. So I took this piece, the little polka dot piece, and I played around with some of the pages and I sat him on here and look at the difference, right? Now I really like him. And at first I didn't, but he's going to live right up here at the top of the card. So I'm going to put some foam squares on the back of him. I hope you do the same thing. Anytime you think that you just don't like what you're doing or you just don't like how it's turning out, push through, because that is super cute. I really do like how he's turned out like this. At first I was not happy. Now I want to put a sentiment right here. So I have this little 1-inch strip of white, and from the same stamp set, I'm going to do the sentiment that says, "Did you hair?" So I'm still using the same stamp set. And I think I'm going to do it something about right here. Did you hair? How cute is that, right? On the inside, we're going to answer that question. Now I'm going to do a little bit of ribbon edge here. Just a little snip snip to give us a little fishtail or ribbon edged piece like that. And then I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to decide how much. I like it about like that. I'm going to put some glue on the back of this, and I'm going to glue it straight down. I got plenty of dimension working. So I got my glue on the back, and then I'm just going to stick that little guy down. That's so cute. And then I'm going to trim this off with my scissors. Look how cute those tulips are on the back. Love them. So now we got our sentiment on the front. I already folded a card base. This is just an A2 card base. I did this one earlier just because this was getting to be kind of long working on this card. Look at this, how cute this is. I love the blue, how it pops, right? I'm going to glue that straight down. Then for the inside of the card, I'm going to stamp "You're Irresistible," also from the same stamp set. Cute. So did you hair? You're irresistible. Love it. That's going to go on the inside. So just pop that inside there. And now we have our card all completed. And you know, I'm telling you, I really wasn't sure about how this was going. I really didn't love how it was looking, but the more I played, the more I like it. Let me know what you think. Do you like this one? Do you think it's too much? Do you think it's not enough? I don't know. I think it's super cute just like it is. So push through. When you think you're heading in a direction that you're not going to like, just keep going and see what you end up with, because I really do like this little card now. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. Until next time, have a great one. Bye-bye.